All right, let's jump right in. For the longest time, the world of business really just followed one North Star: profit. But things are changing, and they're changing fast. A whole new model is coming into play, and it's asking a lot more from our organizations and, frankly, from us as professionals. Now, this isn't some dry academic debate. We're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in how modern businesses have to work if they want to stick around. So let's break down what that really means.
First, we're going to look at the real cost of doing things the old way. Then, we'll build ourselves a new compass, getting clear on the terms that shape ethical decisions today. After that, we'll see where all this theory hits the road, in the supply chain. And to wrap it up, we'll give you an actual framework you can use to find your way.
So, to really get why this change is so important, we have to face what we're leaving behind. That old profit at all costs model, it wasn't just a little flawed, it came with a price tag so huge it's honestly hard to fathom.
Okay, just take a second and really look at that number. $2.6 trillion. That's what the UN estimates corruption costs the world economy every single year. That's more than 5% of the entire planet's GDP. A number that big can feel abstract, right? Almost unreal. But its impact is devastatingly real.
And this quote just hits you right in the gut. It connects that insane number to actual human beings. See, this isn't just about money disappearing on a balance sheet. It's about food being stolen from hungry people. It's about medicine not reaching the sick. It's about stealing the future from entire communities.
And if you want to see the ultimate price of corruption, look no further than the Rana Plaza collapse. Back in 2013, this building in Bangladesh just pancaked. This wasn't some random act of nature. Nope. This was a man-made disaster, and it was fueled by corruption. People allegedly paid bribes to look the other way on safety warnings, to skip building inspections. And the result? More than 1,000 people lost their lives. Thousands more were badly hurt. This is a direct line from a bribe to a human rights nightmare.
Okay, so looking at tragedies like that, it's clear we desperately need a better way to do things. And that means we need a new guiding compass, a framework that helps us make decisions based on more than just the bottom line. To build that compass, we've got to be super clear on the words we're using.
So first up, ethics. The easiest way to think about ethics is as the rules of the road. They're the what. They tell you what behavior is acceptable, and they usually come from the outside, from a professional group, a government, a legal system.
Then you've got principles. Now, if ethics are the what, principles are the how. These are basic, universal truths. They're like the law of gravity. They just are. They work in practice, and they give us power because they give us a solid foundation for how we think and act.
And last but not least, we have values. Values. Values are the why. They are completely personal. They come from our own beliefs, our own life story. It's what each of us decides is most important, things like honesty, family, freedom, whatever it is for you. They're our internal engine. Now this is where it all clicks together. What's so cool here is you can see the whole chain reaction. It all starts inside us. Our beliefs and experiences, they forge our values, our why. Those values then shape the principles we live by, our how. We then use those principles to navigate the external world of ethics, the what. And what's at the end of that chain? Our behavior, the actual things we do and the consequences they create.
So we've got our compass. Now, where do we use it? Well, the most important testing ground for this stuff is the modern supply chain. That huge, tangled, global web of people and resources that brings a product to life. It's here, in the real world, that a company's values are either proven or they're broken. And the two paths you can go down, wow, they could not be more different. On one hand, you build an ethical chain. What do you get? Better quality, a great reputation for being honest, and a strong, sustainable business. On the other hand, you let corruption in. The result? You destroy your reputation, you face lawsuits, and, like we saw with Rana Plaza, you cause incredible harm to people. The business case for doing the right thing is just overwhelming.
Let's just pause here for a second and make it personal. Seriously, think about it.
What would happen at your job if news broke tomorrow that a key supplier was caught in a bribery scandal or using forced labor? What would that do to your brand, to your day-to-day operations? Could your company survive that? This isn't a far-off risk anymore. It's right at our doorstep.
Knowing the risk is step one. Knowing what to do about it, that's the real challenge. So let's shift gears and talk about the solution. We're not going to leave you hanging. We're going to give you a real, practical framework you can use to start building a more principled path for your projects and your whole organization.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to talk about these big ideas, but how do you actually use them on a Tuesday morning when you've got a deadline breathing down your neck? Well, luckily, there's a blueprint for that. Here it is. This is GPM's framework, 6 Principles for Sustainable Project Management. This is a game changer because it forces us to look beyond just making money. It builds in things like social and ecological fairness. It demands that we're transparent, and it even redefines what economic prosperity means. It's not just about us right now. It's about balancing our needs with the needs of the people who come after us.
And this isn't just theory. It leads to real-world actions. You can start by insisting that your project's business case talks about ethics and values right from the very beginning. You can just decide to be transparent by default. You can actively look for and address how your projects might harm vulnerable people. This is how you turn a principle into a practice. So, what's the big takeaway here? What do you really need to remember? It's this. We're in the middle of a massive strategic shift. This isn't about writing a policy so you can check a box for the lawyers. No way. This is about fundamentally changing a company's DNA, moving away from a short-sighted obsession with quarterly profits and toward creating real, lasting value for the long haul. And that brings us to one final, powerful question you should ask yourself. Just think about your work, your team, your company's whole strategy. Are you building for the next quarter, or are you building for the next generation? The answer to that question, well, that's what will define your legacy.